Welcome back to the Movement is Medicine podcast. Dr. Gene Chirakrad here with Dr. Megan Weezer. Dr. Corey, I really need a nap. How?
Yeah, I've been tired. I don't know why. I mean, I know that I don't sleep well in general.
And you've been doing a ton of work.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember the last night that I've slept all the way through without waking up.
Really?
Yeah, I'm being very serious about that. I just wake up a ton, like at a minimum, probably 3 to 4 times a night.
Do you think maybe it has something to do with all the Mountain Dew you're drinking?
No.
Called out. Hold that thought, though, because we are going to talk about nutrition today.
I haven't
Shots fired.
I haven't had Mountain Dew since a few weeks ago, since my pee started turning green. No, I'm just kidding.
How late do you drink your caffeine?
Usually not in the afternoon for that reason, because I was like, well, why?
Yeah.
I do know that speaking of nutrition, if I eat later, like usually like past 8, I don't sleep as well. So I try to
say not to eat within 3 hours of bedtime, but that doesn't always work out.
Yeah, and that's probably another myth where people think like don't eat after 6 to like lose weight or something. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if that's true. Probably not. But what is true is eating messes with your hormone production, cortisol, and things like that. And so when we eat late, we're getting right into the information.
Yeah,
wow,
look at you,
man.
Look at you.
When you eat late, your cortisol spikes, which
Insulin.
insulin spikes. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it can just mess with your sleep a little bit.
Yeah, and if you already are under a baseline level of stress and that baseline is shifted up plus more insulin and cortisol mixing together, doesn't really help.
Some people are like slow metabolizers of caffeine too.
Yeah.
Like regardless of like what time you cut off the consumption, like some people like the caffeine just stays in their system a little bit longer.
Yeah, like a half-life
like
of
genetic
usual like 6 hours or something is caffeine. Maybe the individual, it might take closer to 8 hours, so that caffeine's in their system a little bit later.
Yeah.
My half-life is 20 minutes.
Yeah, Gene drinks coffee before bed.
I literally had a cup of coffee at like 7 o'clock last night and was out at 9:30. I was really tired yesterday.
Supposedly the quality of your sleep, even if you can sleep with caffeine in your system that late, supposedly the quality decreases.
I would agree with that.
I haven't had that happen to me yet. I think once you go through children, then all that
any sleep is good sleep.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like military. Once you go through the military, you sleep anytime, anywhere.
But I do want to. I haven't seen a doctor in a while. I need to set up a primary care physician out here, but that is something that I want to talk to them about. Maybe get a sleep study or something, because there's no reason that I can think of other than high caffeine, which I do stop drinking at some point, usually noon. So I don't know why I don't sleep through the night. It's kind of awful. It started when I had a bunch of pain, like my back pain.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Right. I had a long time where it just hurt all the time. So I think that's when it started. And
like
then,
original case way back when?
Yeah. Like age 19, 20.
Huh.
I was sleeping better then, I think. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. Not fun. I don't snore. At least Carrie doesn't say that I
Which
snore.
makes it, that sleep apnea and waking
right.
up definitely disrupts sleep. I had a similar conversation with a potential new member. She's going through Pathway now, but she said the same thing. She's like, I think I sleep enough. And then I asked her the follow-up. I was like, well, what about how well you sleep? Like, do you wake up at night? She's like, yeah, I do wake up 3 or 4 times a night. Because her one big thing was like,
Jesus.
I never feel refreshed when I wake up. And like that's literally
exactly
what you're saying is
yeah,
have volume, but the quality of
exactly
volume is
hours wise. Like sometimes I mean I probably average 8 hours. I could look at my data, but I'd probably average 8 hours. But it's just the quality, and it's just not there. So
get some blackout curtains.
We have that 8 sleep bed that keeps us
we
cold.
We talked about that in a while.
We have an air conditioner in the room, like a portable one, to try to keep it nice and cold for us.
Yeah. Well, this is not new, because I'm sure for listeners that have been following along in this podcast, they'll reference, because we talked about that 8 sleep, and you talked about sleep being a challenge.
Well, that's why we've gotten all that stuff, because I was having trouble. So we just try to help as best we can. But
you know what I heard for sleep?
Golf?
Yes. 18 holes per day will make you sleep the day away. That's how it goes.
But on that note, what's your training schedule been like?
Pass.
Did you say pass?
Pass.
That could play into it too a little bit, I think.
Inconsistent, but it's also been the past 5 years of this. So it's not like it's just this past month I haven't been sleeping well.
Okay.
It's been a long time.
There's some factors you can play with. Too.
Yeah, but
screen time.
Screen time is bad.
Nutrition could even.
I mean, screen time before bed. Yeah.
Based on the Instagram reels I get from
you,
yes.
based on the reels that I get in my DMs from you, like.
Yeah. Screen time is bad before bed, so I could get better at that. Yeah.
How much of your screen time now is watching YouTube videos of golf or reels of golf in percentage?
70.
Yeah. That's
really?
pretty close to me
a
too.
lot.
That's me too at this point. I think 70% of the content I consume is golf related.
Yeah. Once you start like looking at something, the algorithms are like, oh, you like this? Here's everything of that. So now
I kind of hate that. You like one post and it's like, oh, I thought that was witty, but it's like, okay, I don't need 70 posts like this, right?
Yeah.
I get it. I just thought that was funny.
But I watch a lot of YouTube, so I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook per se, but it's YouTube or yeah.
It's funny. I don't spend any time on YouTube.
The only time I spend on Facebook is for the business when we're posting something or being tagged, like looking at what people tag me for so I can respond. But I'd say solid 90% is on YouTube for our content for golf videos, and then 8% is on Instagram for our content and messaging you guys.
8. That's an odd number.
And then 2% on Facebook for posting. And that's it. That's all. But yeah, I mean, we've been doing a lot of golf. You're asking why golf? Because golf is a big part of Recharge now and moving forward. Launching that, getting better with our golf game has been a fun challenge. I don't know. At this point, I fitness is one thing and getting better in lifts and all that. But to me, you guys like competitions and doing CrossFit Open and other different fitness competitions. I've never found joy.
Megan's doing the what?
Festivus
games.
Yep. With a couple of her
members
Corey
are doing that too.
Well, no,
not with them.
Just Corey. Corey's the only one I think. He's doing
with
it
Phil
with
and
the
Adam.
team.
Yeah,
that's true.
I'm doing individual.
Yeah,
don't
Jeanette's
think
done
anybody else is
Festivus
doing it.
before.
Yeah, Jeanette's
But
done it
the
before.
point is, you find joy in competition. Working out, there's a means to an end. For me, working out is more of an experiment and finding new movements and just testing things.
Is that why you do weird shit?
Yeah, I find fun in that, conceptualizing something and testing it out. But golf to me has always been not necessarily a passion, but it's something so challenging that I haven't yet been able to master, which is unique. Usually movement things I can figure out and get on top of.
Humble brag.
Yeah.
But it's true. I come from, again, I played baseball at a high level. I've always found a way to adapt to competition, when it's a sport. Golf is one of the first that I've yet to master. I'm getting there, and then it just kicks you in the nuts, right? You're I'm yes, and then golf is triple bogey.
Yeah, there's golf's probably the one sport that is least linear in progression. There's no clear path to getting better other than just suffering through all of that.
Just constantly doing more and more of it.
Yeah.
I feel like
Stupid
that about
golf.
Olympic lifting.
Yeah, but Olympic lifting,
It's different.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's more consistent in that, okay, I've been able to
Yeah.
I've been able to lift 80 pounds, for a few months now. Let's try 85.
Yeah.
Whereas golf, if you're trying to shoot 80, good luck.
Yeah.
And if you break 100 one day, the next day you'll shoot 115 or something.
Yeah, and it's
It's
so
just
variable, course to course and wind and conditions.
There's more dependent variables.
Yeah, and the frustrating thing is, at least in baseball when I played, if I strike out, I could be the pitcher's really good. He pitched me really well. In golf, it's the golf ball's right there. It's the golf
not
ball's
moving.
smiling, laughing at you, hit me, bitch, and you're I'm trying, golf ball, I'm trying. I'm just stop talking,
That's
golf
why
ball.
Happy Gilmore got so mad at his golf ball.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Get in your home. So golf, that's a lot. Let's get back to nutrition. Let's talk about. We talked about you sleeping. That's how we got to golf and stress and building out. So we've been doing a lot with golf.
On the golf course, you can eat hot dogs. That's nutritious.
You can eat hot dogs on the golf course.
You can.
Yeah.
Let's. You say it facetiously, but let's go along that line. Nutritious.
Okay.
Let's talk about not hot dogs. Not that line. Not that line. We're not going down that line. I hate hot dogs. Nutritious, because I think this is a good first topic to delve into with nutrition. Is a lot of times there's I think a confusion between calories and nutrition, right? For calories are energy, but nutrition, there's a lot of things that go into it. Like when people say I want to eat healthy, eating healthy doesn't necessarily mean you'll lose weight if you're not tracking calories. If you're eating a hot dog, you can eat hot dogs and still lose weight, but you might suffer in other areas.
Well, and then the next point I would bring up is like you can still overall eat healthy and still enjoy a hot dog.
Yeah. So let's talk about nutritious. What is nutritious? Because I feel like people
Nutritious? Is that what you're saying?
nutritious. Yeah.
Nutritious.
Nutritious. I'm just gonna drink my coffee.
What are you asking me?
What is nutritious? What is nutrition? What is nutrition? What is nutritious?
The more you say the word, it doesn't feel like a real word.
What makes something that you eat healthy, Megan? Let me expand it for you.
What makes it healthy?
Yes, which is nutritious. The definition of nutritious. Nutritious. Something that you eat that's good for you. Nutritious.
I hate it here.
Coffee is
well,
nutritious.
That's a very loaded question. Like, what is healthy?
That's what you get for giving me shit about how I say nutritious.
Now you're just adding its own little
Yes.
flair every time you say it.
Now it's like my golf game. Every time it's a little different.
I think what is considered healthy will vary from person to person in terms of like what diet is considered healthy. It will vary from person to person, but it has to serve some kind of purpose. Whether that purpose is providing fuel, like for performance, providing nutrients like fiber, antioxidants, protein, fat, carb, whatever, or even just like providing joy. Like if you want a bag of if you want a few Doritos, eat a few Doritos. I love Doritos.
Doritos are good.
I like kettle chips. That'll be mine.
Oh, those are good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's too healthy.
Too nutritious.
Too nutritious.
So like I think
This is a really tough question to answer.
It is
by
a
the
very
way.
tough
Yeah,
question.
it's
There's really
But I
no
think-
right answer. That's the
Which I
point.
think this is why people
I'm
struggle
trying,
with
like,
this.
So I think people the expected answer is like eat good foods, avoid bad foods. But as much as what you see out there and as much as what honestly like clinicians in healthcare tells you, there are no good and bad foods. Like there's not a morality associated with foods.
Well, good and bad, like I'm sure there's people listening right now kind of pulling their hair going, well, what about vegetables? Isn't that nutritious? Like what about
Yes.
artificial foods? Isn't that bad food and not nutritious?
No,
Right? I think
it's not.
it's such a loaded question because it's parallel to what we talked about early on about what is
Defining healthy, yes.
right? That you have to define those aspects. I think
Generally speaking though, like overall healthy is like, eating mostly whole foods and like minimally processed
yeah.
overall.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Like-
I think you're going in the category that I think it's important to go into, at least to start getting control over eating, and that's categorizing a little bit, creating some structure to the chaos. Like when we're trying to get our kids to eat, and we always say it, and then as soon as I say it, like I get a little mad at myself for saying it, like this isn't healthy, or we want you to eat healthy, eat something healthy, instead of saying, hey, I would like you to eat this because here's how it's benefiting you, right? Like going a step further. So if Zoe picks up a candy bar and I go, that's not healthy, right? I want to go a step further. I'm like, hey, if you eat this candy bar that has a lot of sugar, that might make you feel good because your body can't process or work that much sugar. Or, hey, you might hurt your teeth because that sugar is not good for your teeth right now. Like giving an extra layer.
Or
right?
hey, let's, you haven't had any vegetables today. Let's do that first.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
we'll do
I
the
feel
candy bar.
attacked.
Maybe that's why you're not sleeping.
No, yesterday.
When I said Zoe, I meant Corey.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, that's not healthy.
I've been trying to. You won't like this, Gene, but I've been buying riced cauliflower in different mixings.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I have like a Southwest rice cauliflower bowl and a teriyaki rice cauliflower bowl.
It's gonna be sick.
So yesterday I had that with some added chicken thrown
I
in.
thought you smelled funny.
And that's what I ate for dinner. So maybe it's the vegetables.
No, not the vegetables.
It's
A
lack
vegetable.
Of vegetables.
There's cauliflower in there. There was peppers. There was carrots. There were. I added corn and onions. All those are vegetables. Corn's
I
iffy.
stopped listening as soon as you said cauliflower. I'm just sitting here
Still
trying not to yak my
vegetables.
yams.
My point is that's my vegetable quota for the month.
The month.
The month. That's pretty good quota. So nutritious. I think foods, to make it nutritious, needs to have a clear purpose, right? That if you're
Yeah.
eating something, one, do you understand to some extent what's in there? I'm not saying like read the whole ingredients, but just have a sense of what's going into your body. But if you're saying this is healthy or unhealthy, like with fitness, you need to define it, right? You need to say this is healthy because it has a proactive piece to it. And I think that's what's missing a lot of times in food is people think if I eat this, then this food will do something special or beneficial that will push my health forward. But that's not
But the
how
thing
it
it's gonna do is it's
works.
gonna make you feel better.
Right.
Or
And I
worse.
think that's so important is defining that. Like healthy how? Healthy to what extent? What do you think is going to actually happen if you eat this spinach or broccoli, or if you eat a yogurt with artificial coloring, like your system doesn't explode, right?
Yeah.
You have to define what healthy is and how you think it impacts you.
And like not getting focused or overly focused on the minutia of things. Like I'm trying to think of an example, but for a long time there's like a low fat craze.
Yeah.
In the U.S. for whatever fucking reason.
Because
But-
there was the obesity epidemic.
Well, we
Was
still have
slash is.
that, but what I was gonna say
Worse
is
than ever.
like people were gravitating toward these like ultra processed foods
Yeah.
to avoid one single fucking ingredient, when really that ingredient, like fat shows up everywhere, and we need fats. We need saturated fats. We also need unsaturated fats.
I think it's poor terminology. Like I think we wouldn't think food fat would be as bad if it was called something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like people automatically think that like the fat macronutrient
Is bad.
And
No,
they think that goes right into their
correlates
body.
to
Oh,
body
sure.
fat
Yeah.
is what
Yeah,
I was gonna say.
yeah.
It's not the same thing. Fat macronutrient does not equal adipose tissue.
Sure.
Yeah. So let's go down that line of thinking then, because that transitions from nutrition to more energy systems. Right now, you're delving into using those terms a little bit differently, because body fat or fat you consume, carbs you consume, protein you can consume are about how your body processes it and uses it as energy.
Like you're going to put on body fat. You're going to get more adipose tissue / body fat, regardless of which macronutrient is in excess. Like if you're eating more carbs, or let's say this, not carbs necessarily. Like if you're eating over your calorie intake or whatever your maintenance calorie intake is, and also not expending above that, if you are in excess of that, whether the excess comes from fat macronutrients, protein macronutrients, or carb macronutrients, you're still going to put on body fat. It does not necessarily come from an increase in fat intake. It could come from the increase in carb intake or increase in protein intake.
Yeah,
It more often does come from the increase in fat intake because generally protein is utilized a little bit better. But
because a gram of fat has 9 calories in it compared to a gram of carbs or protein, which has 4.
Yes. Yep.
So there is that difference, and maybe that's why another reason why people assume that fat is quote bad for you or whatever.
But it's just a more dense molecule, and we
Right.
have to utilize it for a lot of things.
Correct. And from a societal aspect, it's about abundance, right? We have more abundance of fat in foods than some of the other ones, aside from maybe carbs.
And
Yeah,
so
carbs.
like artificially too, right? Like the trans fats, that is just
Right.
artificially hydrogenated unsaturated fats
Yeah.
essentially, and all that is like they're taking unsaturated fats, which are like liquid at room temperature, and artificially parking hydrogen atoms in those like unbonded sections and increasing the shelf life of those things. So
Right.
they're
So-
artificially saturating those fats.
so it thickens up. Is that
basically,
yeah?
And preserves it longer.
yes.
I think trans fat, I don't know if it's now, but I feel like I read that it's in the process of being banned.
Yeah,
So
I
trans
don't
fats
know.
are.
Probably.
I think very few things nowadays
Yeah.
have trans fats, saturated and unsaturated. That you'll still
Yeah.
see
You'll
those
see
listed,
those
but
trans fats are
most
for the
things,
most part are not allowed to
Yeah,
be
you
in
don't see a
foods,
lot of that anymore.
yeah,
which is not good.
Well, no, that's good.
Trans fats are not good. It's good that they're being
Yes,
outlawed.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Let's touch on the energy systems a little bit. I do want to come back to calories. Let's finish this episode talking about calories because it is a loaded topic and it's very complex. And I think it's important to highlight that we're not trying to be in depth yet, but just create an overview of how complex this is and why nutrition is so hard for people. That fitness is one thing, but nutrition is incredibly challenging. Food is incredibly challenging because there's a huge emotional component to it. There's a huge societal component. There's a huge relationship component to it, especially if you're a parent or in a relationship and you're like, well, I want to do this, but my partner doesn't want to do this, or my kids are assholes and they don't want to do that. Which happens. They're cute, but every parent knows eating is an entirely different ball game when it comes to kids. So it's challenging. But let's talk about energy systems. We have carbs, we have fats, we have proteins for energy. What are each? How are they different? And is there a time to optimize one versus another?
What do you mean energy systems?
How are carbs, proteins, and fats used inside the body?
I'm not going into metabolism right now. That's too far in depth.
Okay.
And
What
also,
what
I
is a
don't think-
carb? What is a
And also,
protein?
I don't think I know enough of it for it to be relevant.
So if you're exercising in a hierarchy of energy,
Generally, we use our carbs for, or glucose for higher intensity bouts of effort.
okay,
And fat we utilize for longer, less intense duration.
Good.
That's
and
the
protein.
bare bones of it. Protein, we utilize the least, but we still need protein to uphold the connective tissue of our like the building blocks of our cells. So like our muscles, our ligaments, our bones, etc. Like you still need the protein. And in certain cases, if you run out of your stores of like your fats or carbs, like the body will tap into the protein stores if it doesn't have enough of carbs or fats and utilize that for energy.
Correct. So I think that's important. That yes, it's very in depth and cellular. That we have
That's
various energy
the
cycles.
basic understanding.
Correct,
Of it, yeah.
and that's kind of what I wanted to get to is our body's constantly going through energy loops, right? We're feeding
Yeah.
through different cycles.
Energy is never like taken away or given, like it's transferred.
Because that's Newton's laws of thermodynamics, right? Energy cannot be
Created
made
or
or
destroyed. Or whatever, yeah.
It's constantly recycled. And protein is important because it helps. The molecules are so big, they go into develop mitochondrial development, building more, which is what it's responsible for. So that's why people always make that association. If I work out, do I need protein shakes? Do I need to eat foods with protein?
Well, I think the big takeaway is you need all three macronutrients.
Right.
Like, people try to avoid carbs because they think they make you gain weight, which I think is just a misconception because, well, there's a lot of misconceptions out there. But when for every gram of glycogen you store, which is a broken down component of carbohydrate, you also store 3 to 4 grams of water. So when people cut carbs, they think they're automatically losing weight. But you haven't lost fat. You've just lost water weight because you're eating less carbs, so you're storing less water.
Yeah.
But you need carbs because our bodies need carbs for a lot of different processes. You need fats for the same reason. Hormones get transported on fats. And, for inflammatory reasons or immunity reasons and stuff, you need fats. And then protein is like, it's the building blocks of our structures.
Right. And
in
we're
our
we're
system.
we're not talking about any dysfunctions that people might have, right? We're not saying like people that are glucose intolerant or have
or
different
like kidney disease or anything
allergies
like that,
to wheat and things like that. We're not talking about that. We're saying that, and this was seen like with Atkins, right? When Atkins became a popular diet where carbs starts being
didn't they
cut
like
out.
slash the carbs in that one?
They try to take as many carbs away because carbs was the devil. People just were like zombies. right? They're like the walking dead because carbs are so much of that initial energy that you have. When you take it away, your body has to go to much slower energy burn, which is fats, which takes a lot longer to process. But you're just like, your brain doesn't get that sugar stimulus to process. So it takes a long time to recalibrate that. But I think that comes back to what we talked about in the beginning is how you feel day in, day out is so important to what you eat and having that balance. And if you're balanced and you create a balance and you try to maintain a balance, sometimes shifting parts around, like balance doesn't always mean the same. It just means understanding your three parts and how to be balanced and having all of them in at one time, which I think is a challenge in itself in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think people are quick to, like, if they're struggling losing weight or struggling performance-wise, like in workouts or something, they're quick to, like, just think it's because of one single nutrient and whether that's too much of that or too little of it. But it's probably more just like the whole cohesive unit of the balance of all three of those. Like everybody, like I know a lot of people would chug a protein shake before they go to work out. And I'm like,
yuck.
No, like save that for, I mean, yes, have your protein, but like also eat a banana or two with that. Like you need, your carbs are going to fuel your workout, not the protein.
Yeah, you're usually, like you said, the hierarchy of what we utilize is carbs first. So
Then fats and then protein.
yeah. So to aid your workout, a protein shake, pure protein, isn't going to help you that much. And
No.
it might even make you feel gross if you drink it with milk or something. You know,
They'll sit there.
Yeah. It's also way harder to digest. So your body's going to be more focused on that as opposed to outputting ATP elsewhere.
Yeah, and it's still energy, right? It takes energy to digest, just like it takes energy to think, and all those things. So that's an important piece. Let's finish out talking about calories because I think that's incredibly confusing for most people as well. And I know there's a lot to talk about weight loss. It's an entirely different species of discussion. So we're not going to get too far into that, but I think let's have a overview of what calories are as an energy measurement, an energy unit. And I know we talked about this a long time ago, but I think it's a good refresher about resting metabolic rate. It's like falling asleep. He closed his eyes a smidgen too long. And in that moment, you could see his brain going, do I really want to open them?
it was like the Windows, like, signing off music that was going on in my head.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Let's talk about resting metabolic rate first of all, because I think this is a very important piece that people need to understand. That
Why do you want to talk about resting?
because I think
metabolic rate?
people need to know that no matter what, it takes an X amount of range of calories to fuel you as a human, for your brain, your system, all those things. So I think it's important that everyone understands that we all start the same way in terms of calorie usage. So what's resting metabolic rate?
Resting metabolic rate is the amount of calories that your body needs to just function, basically doing nothing, to provide energy for basic body functions, like your brain working, your heart beating, you sitting there, being able to, have a conversation with somebody.
Yeah. Essentially no work, just to be
Essential
alive.
functions, yes.
And what is that range typically?
It varies from person to person. So
General range.
I don't have a general range
Well,
because
make one up.
It varies.
800 to 1,200 calories a day?
It varies. It's dependent upon whether you're male or female. And like I don't mean like I mean like biologically, male or female, because there's different hormones and stuff that go into that. Your muscle to fat mass ratio and your fitness level, what type of exercise you do, how long you've been exercising, your training age.
Okay. I think it's pretty fair to say
your age.
12 to 1,600 calories.
No. You're just throwing fucking numbers out there
That
without any basis.
is not throwing
Why don't I
numbers.
just Google it?
Yeah,
'Cause-
Google. Google general
But
range.
your age plays into it. So say, 30 to 40 years old or something.
Should ask ChatGPT. I bet that would know.
Also, I think resting metabolic rate is different than basal metabolic rate.
It is.
Isn't it?
It is.
Yes.
It is.
Google says your BMR, basal metabolic rate is a number which refers to how many calories you burn at rest. Most people's BMR is between 1,000 to 2,000 calories.
Okay.
Very large range.
Well, because it's dependent on all the
Right.
factors.
So
I just said.
my range was not crazy, 1,200 to 1,600.
No, but it depends on, your. Why are you making that face at me? You can't just tell me to say a number. Like, it's different if you're a 12-year-old or if you're a 28-year-old or if you're a 37-year-old.
I said a general range,
Yeah,
Miss
general
Pedantic.
range.
I did not
There's a
say
million
what
ages
is the
out
range
there.
of a 42-year-old male. I said a general range that encompasses
and
everyone.
a 42-year-old male would also be a freaking range because it depends on that person's fitness level, how much muscle they've got.
So let's say the general range is 1,000 to 2,000. That means you have to eat that much just to not die,
function.
just to function, just to live.
See, that's what it takes is a little
Just us
argument.
I don't like
Yeah.
confrontation.
Yeah, he's like, he goes into fight or flight. Oh God, they're yelling.
Mom,
They're yelling.
Conflict resolution mode.
But I think the takeaway from that is, okay, so let's say somebody's resting metabolic rate is 2,000 calories. And this person is very active. They run 10 miles a week. They participate in 3 CrossFit classes a week also.
All of that extra stuff is more calorie expenditure on top of the 2,000 that you're saying.
Correct.
Yes.
So if you are somebody who lives and dies by that 2,000 calorie count, no, that and there's a chart somewhere that I've got saved somewhere that there are some, I can't remember what the activity level is, but there's 7-year-olds who have the resting metabolic rate of 1,500 calories. And there are women out there eating 1,200 calories, running 70 miles a week.
Right.
All that to say, you probably need to eat more than what you are to fuel what you're trying to make your body do.
Right. So that was the big point that I wanted to eventually get to,
which
we
we
did.
took a long fucking road to get there.
It doesn't matter, but I think it's important. Sometimes I think having a messy conversation about a messy topic is important because that's how real conversations are about something like this. We're not even getting to the emotion of food and what that means to people.
Yeah.
But let's say, I'm going to move this knife so I don't get shanked by Wheeze. Let's say the average basal metabolic rate or resting metabolic rate is 1,500 calories.
Okay.
Right. And people are, like you said, feel like they need to keep cutting calories, not understanding that the basic functioning number for their body is 1,500. And they're always trying to get under and under.
That's the minimum number of calories you should be eating every single day.
Just
sitting there,
just
not
to
even
fuel
going
your
for a
brain,
walk.
your organs, your muscles, your tissues that you need. And you keep going under, then something has to give, right? Again, energy is not created or destroyed, and for you to keep functioning, your body will keep pulling and pulling and pulling.
So something's going to suffer at some point.
Until there's nothing left to pull.
And just along that, I'm pretty sure once the body gets consistently that low of calories, won't it often store fat longer to try to preserve its calories because it doesn't know when it's going to get enough
probably
calories?
At a certain point it would do that.
I think that's been disproven.
There's no such thing as starvation mode. Your body doesn't go into starvation mode.
I think what happens is, one, your endocrine system changes, so the hormones start processing differently. Two, change how your body kind of uses that fuel, how it burns it.
What will happen though is your metabolism will adapt. And the BMR or the RMR, resting metabolic rate, whatever, your baseline level of calories for basic functions will probably decline. And then as soon as you go above that, then your metabolism is just going to be a little funky. You'll gain weight a lot quicker.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And again, your body will need to pull nutrients from somewhere else. And a lot of times we see this in particular with women is once the fats are not there anymore and the carbs are not coming in, then you're looking at proteins and breaking down muscle tissue, and then you're looking at bone and your system pulling nutrients from bone, and bone's getting more brittle. And so again,
that's not only in females either.
I know, but I'm saying in a lot of ways, because women are more predisposed to osteoporosis anyway, and bone health. But the point is the body will keep finding that energy from somewhere else. So if you're not giving your body calories, it will take it away in other ways.
Yeah.
But there's obviously an alternative. So this is what you shouldn't be doing. So how should people look at calories and approach calories in a healthier way? What would you say?
What?
What is a healthy way to approach calories? How should, if you were giving people a recommendation and they're like, I want to, let's create a spectrum, lose weight or put on muscle.
Yeah.
Calories are important. How are they important? How should they be utilized and looked at?
Hit them. Eat enough. Eat
Okay,
more.
you're saying that because you get it. You have the burden of knowledge. But for people that
The burden of knowledge.
don't have that,
That's the closest thing he'll ever say to calling you smart.
I know.
let's not get carried away. Let's not get carried away.
I think for the people who do not have the burden of knowledge,
Which is most people.
I probably wouldn't even give them a specific calorie count.
Okay. What would you give them?
Different, like plate visualiz, whatever would work for them, whatever they could be consistent with. So like hand-sized portions, or like plate visualization kind of things, and that. And
Okay.
Getting different servings of things.
And what about
More
people?
of a mindset of abundance than restriction. Like,
Here's what you should be eating, and based on that, that should be around the calories you should be at to fuel what you need to fuel.
yeah, I mean, I can estimate like, 2 palms of protein is probably going to be like 60 grams of protein, which equates to calories, right? Like 9 times 60, whatever that is. Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I think giving people something instead of saying, don't do this, is a great way to make it stick and make it long-term sustainable, right? Because I think
Say that again?
giving people something instead of taking something away is a better approach.
Yes. It's also easier to do. Like, the first thing people do when they try to make nutritional changes is like restrict and like, I'm not going to have this. 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 Like, okay, well, what you going to eat?
Yeah.
I
like that.
It's more of okay, still have your glass of wine and piece of chocolate at the end of the night, but maybe add in an extra cup of broccoli at dinner.
Yeah, I really like that because it's parallel to what we talk about with movement, that there is no bad movement, right? So if somebody comes in with back pain, we don't say don't do this, this, and this. We say do this, this, and this. It's a very different mindset shift into growth instead of scarcity of saying we get you're afraid, but we don't need to tell you what not to do. We're here to tell you what you should do, and that's very similar
And
to that.
like if you don't like broccoli, then don't eat broccoli. Pick a different vegetable. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be, I need to eat kale because it's a superfood and meh.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Well, I think Corey's like, I feel attacked again.
No, actually, I was
Choose
thinking
the
of something
vegetables
else.
that you will eat. Rice cauliflower with Southwest seasonings.
Stop it.
There's a might have been the Daily Show with Jon Stewart. I don't remember exactly, but Steve Carell was on it, and he said that he's on this special diet where he's eating nothing but vegetables, and he pulled out a thing.
Nothing but vegetables? That sounds horrible.
Let me continue. He pulled out. This was a skit. It was a joke.
Oh.
He pulled out a thing of Crisco, and he said, and Jon Stewart or whoever the interviewer was, I don't know, was like, "What is that?" And he said, "Look, 100% vegetable oil." He said, "This is the healthiest thing I could eat," and he took a real spoonful and ate it. So that's where my mind was when you guys were talking.
Oh, okay.
Sounds about right.
Yep.
I think it's important to give people something that they can do, which is very similar to training here, right? People come in not knowing what to do, and one of the best things they tell us is, I don't have to think about what I need to do. I show up, I do the workouts, and I leave. And granted, food is harder because they actually have to cook it for most instances.
It's easier to add more good than it is to take away what is perceived as bad.
Yeah, and then giving people, recalibrating what it means at some point, right? If you say, eat this, this, and this, people are like, great, thank you. That's a huge load off. Thank you for telling me what it is.
No, I'm never going to tell, but anybody
Right,
specifically
not
what
you
to eat,
specifically, but there are people that do that, and
yeah,
that's their
yes,
job,
yeah.
is to give people that suggestion and recommendation, and then you recalibrate and say, okay, now that you're eating consistently this amount, here's what 16 or 1800 calories looks like, and that's this plate, right? Oh, you're adding more activity. A workout's going to be on average 200 to 300 calories. Great, so now you're adding that into the mix, right? And you have to fuel for that, and then you create a more customized flow for people. But again, then it's more adding and tweaking and maintaining that balance instead of saying, take this away, take that away, which people never respond well to.
Yeah.
Stuff being taken away from them, like Corey and his Pop-Tarts. Confirmed. All right, let's call it a day there before somebody shanks somebody else today. Let us know what you thought of this episode. Nutrition is incredibly hard. We know eating is very hard. A lot of gray areas, a lot of messiness in it. So if you want to know more, let us know.
Especially like ribs and like buffalo wings, very messy.
But you know what?
Oh, here we go.
I've thought about this before.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like arthritis.
What the fuck?
This is what Gene thinks about.
It's kind of like arthritis, that at some point, having arthritis is normal, right? As you reach a certain point in life,
Yes.
like if you get an image done, you should see arthritis. So arthritis becomes normal, even though people are scared
expected.
of it.
Sure.
Like, okay, cool, we knew this.
So,
I'm 87 years old. I'm sure, of course, I have arthritis.
but you start building arthritis when you're 16.
No, I
But
know, I know.
beside the
I'm
point,
just saying.
the
Okay.
point is that
Buffalo
when you're
wings.
eating ribs and wings, for the most part, you should be messy, right? So at some point, you reach a point of eating wings and ribs that if you are not messy, you're the weirdo. Just like if you're the older person without arthritis, you are the weirdo, sir. You should have arthritis.
How
Just
did
like
we
if
get
you are eating ribs, you should be messy.
How did your brain make the parallel between eating wings and having arthritis?
I know, I'm pretty awesome.
Like if you look at a big long table with 20 people eating a buffalo wing contest, and one guy doesn't look messy, he's the weirdo.
He's a psychopath.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not letting my kids anywhere near him. For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. The dude or lady that's like wings everywhere, like crying because she accidentally touched her eyeball with the spicy, buffalo sauce.
Nope,
I'm
never
best
done
friends
that.
with them. Yeah, that's how it should be. That's how it should be. All right, thanks for listening. We'll catch you again in the next episode of the Movement is Medicine podcast. If you are still here for some miracle and you're still listening at this point, subscribe or just please come back again. I don't even want to ask to subscribe. I know that's asking a lot at this point.
No, we need to get rid of this stupid PS5.
Oh, hey, we're gonna give that away sometime this summer, July 4th, I think.
July 4th.
So if you haven't
July 4th.
subscribed
It was
yet,
supposed to be
subscribe to our
freaking
YouTube channel.
January.
Yep.
We'll catch you again on the next episode. Bye.